Malo lelei, talofalava, tawopani, kia ora koutou katoa. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming today and being with us on this very special event. Firstly, I'd like to put a very special welcome to the most special guests here today, who are our children from Glenview School. So thank you, kids, for taking the time to come out here today, because we know we're going to hear from you later about the excellent work you've been doing in the school, and also to Atua Lesta Mohi, and also via Linda Knight de Bloy. Thank you very much, Deputy Principal and Principal, for bringing your kids here to be with us today. Also, too, I'd like to thank the second most special guest who are our MPs and Honourable Julianne Gentile. I saw her already into the room, Minister for Women and Associate Minister of Health. Thank you very much, Julianne, for being here today. We've seen you now, I think this month, the second or third time. You've joined us at our first summits for New Zealand Beverage Guidance Panels, and it's great to see yourself and also our top representative, Dr. Ben, join us. It's so important to have MPs listening to important messages like this around the health of our children in particular, and what policies we think are important for them. The three policies that the New Zealand Beverage Guidance Panel are presenting today, we think will enable an environment where children can grow up and can thrive. And I think with these policies, if they were implemented, we would see children with pristine smiles, with sharp minds, and the best metabolic machines that we can possibly have. And evidence of that are our kids here today, who have had their water only policy for over 25 years in their school. So just going on the three policies that the New Zealand Beverage Guidance Panel is recommending, I'll start with the third one initially, which, like Bodo says, no one likes a tax, but our third policy is a sugary drinks levy. We think that this policy has the potential to have the greatest impact on all scales. We know it will reduce intake of sugary drinks. It has been shown to do that elsewhere in countries like Mexico and the UK, and a number of Pacific Island nations like Tonga and the Cook Islands. And also to our friend from the UK, Jamie Oliver, mentioned in one of his very first presentations he's given at one of our symposiums a number of years ago now. In the UK, when the policy was introduced there, it acted like a turbocharger for other healthy policies to be implemented. And some of those other initiatives that happened in the UK was there was a ban on the sale of energy drinks to children under 18 years old. And then also there was Public Health England led the preparation of a document around the reformulation of sugar from the food system. So those are some examples of how the tax can be the impetus for other positive changes. And just this morning I received an email from UMR Research, who do political polls, and they included 2 questions that we commissioned on our behalf. And the poll is around whether you can support tax on sugary drinks with the revenue going to fund dental health programs and obesity, childhood obesity prevention programs. And we've had about quite a strong level of support for that. And in this most recent poll that was received today, there was 67% support for that. So that's over 2/3. And that's generally from 2018, we had our last poll, so it's maintained, it was 66% there. But we think that like what Rob was saying earlier, that's our public giving the mandate to the government and to politicians that are putting in place measures like this are acceptable. They're totally acceptable. So other polls, I think, generally with strong support, you'll see support of around 20 to 30%. We've got 67% for a sugary drinks tax or levy. And so for our sugary drinks levy, what we've recommended is that we follow suit with what the UK has done, having a tiered levy, because it has the greatest likelihood of encouraging or incentivising reformulation of the products. We think that the revenue gain from that tax should be tagged to fund dental health programs and childhood obesity prevention programs, and we estimate that it would generate around $100 million per annum. So the second recommendation from the New Zealand Beverage Guidance Panel is around clearly labelling sugar content in drinks. And like my colleague Loma Tuku explained earlier, we think that labelling the sugar content of drinks will allow consumers and children and all of us to make better informed decisions so that we can actually know what we're consuming. A lot of the kids and a lot of people, I think, they know that there's a lot of sugar in these drinks, but they don't actually have any idea of how much sugar is in them. So we propose that there should be a front of pack label, and it needs to be mandated by government, exactly how the heart package was mandated, and it needs to clearly indicate how many teaspoons of sugar are in that drink package, not the serving, how many per serve, but how many in the whole unit. And it needs to be supported by a strong social marketing campaign that explains there's 4 grams and 1 teaspoon of sugar, and recommending 369. The maximum teaspoons for a child is 3 per day, the maximum for a woman is 6 teaspoons per day, and the maximum number of teaspoons for a man is 9. So that's our second policy recommendation. And finally, our policy 1 is that we have water-only schools throughout New Zealand. And again, by explaining how you see the term no-brainer, I kind of think this is a no-brainer policy. It should have been implemented a long time ago. We'd explained that drinks had already been taken out of schools when the National Administration Guideline 5 was introduced in 2006. Unfortunately, it was revoked in 2009. So we think that needs to be brought in, or to make schools water only in early childhood education centres, but it needs to be put in policy with enduring policy. It can't be in the form of a MAG again. It can just be revoked and repealed instantly. It needs to be enduring policy, and that sugary drinks have no place in New Zealand schools for early childhood education centres. So that's all from me. We're now so lucky that we're going to hear more about the benefits that our water-only policy has from our tamariki, from our children. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I just want to hand it back to you, Bodo. Thank you.